Welcome, everyone, to What the Force. I'm Marie-Claire Gould, your host, and today we are talking about Visions Volume 2, Au's Song, which is our final episode short of Visions that has been released. And joining me to talk about all of these is my good friend, Hammie. Welcome back.
Hi.
This one is done by Triggerfish, which is a studio in South Africa. And we have the writer-directors Nadia Darris and Daniel Clark, who have contributed this gorgeous Visions episode.
I loved all of these, but I will say Au's Song was my number one.
Really?
Yes, this was my number one. I hope I can do it justice even on the podcast, but just know I love it. I love it.
Wow. Yeah, this I loved the art style. I was trying to figure out, is this stop motion? Was it stop motion?
I wasn't able to actually confirm that, but I think it is stop motion. I know that they were that they wanted it to look very soft and childlike with the felt and all of that. So I believe it is stop motion.
The felt was just so good. Like the felty look and the feeling that everything kind of had a texture to it. It created such a unique environment for this planet that they are on. We're introduced to Au right off the top. And she is kind of on a cliff and there's like this song in her heart that wants to come out, but she's not able to actually let it come out. And that's how we're introduced to Au right off the bat. She certainly has like kind of a natural way of wanting to do things. I'm reminded a lot of the wild woman archetype from Women Who Run with the Wolves, that like a wild woman, like listening to your instincts is really, really important.
And even down to Au's character design, she has dreadlocks. It's very, having her natural hair show through. I thought that was kind of a nice way. And like you said, she has this kind of immediate connection to nature just because she's out. When we meet her, she's outside and she's climbing the cliffs. I don't know. It's just so good. Something that the creators had mentioned was that they were kind of drawing their inspiration from, since they are from South Africa, of a poisoned or hurt land, and that the young people of that land are the ones who will be able to heal the wounds of the past. And I just loved that inspiration. And it's evident throughout the whole story. They also said, singing is obviously part of the culture in South Africa. And so it was just kind of automatic that they would include that.
So the story itself of the planet is that the planet is very heavy in kyber crystals, and at some point in the past, they were all corrupted by the Sith. They were all bled, and they actually kind of go into this backstory. And so the duty of the, people on the planet is to mine these kyber crystals very gently, because the kyber crystals are kind of almost hurt or like bled.
Yeah, I was going to say they're bleeding. Yeah, they're bled kyber crystals
because they're all red, and they feel like it's their journey or their responsibility, because they're in charge of the planet, to find all the kyber crystals one by one individually and give them to the Jedi to purify.
The other character who's with Au is her father, Abut, and he says to Au, to mine the kyber is our calling. So this is their purpose. They're part of this planet, and that is their duty, is to mine the kyber crystal.
And this ties to the heroine's journey really, really heavily, because oftentimes there's a femme character who has sort of a hidden power, a power that father doesn't understand. It's often tied to creativity, and or it's something that the father doesn't feel is appropriate to solve a problem or do what the society needs you to do. And so fathers will often in these stories tell the daughter that they need to do things the father's way. And it's quite a common motif. So in a Joseph Campbell sense, this would be to follow the right-handed path, the way that the society wants you to walk. Joseph Campbell would say that heroes or adventurers who are exploring their own power and want to sort of understand themselves and seek their own joy would follow the left-handed path, which would be their own unknown, not the known path. So the father, by saying to mind the Kyber is our calling, Au's reaction to it of kind of being like silenced by covering her mouth with her scarf is sort of saying she's stopping her own heart from, finding her joy and finding her path.
And her purpose in life. Yes,
Yeah.
it's great. And the thing that I liked about this, the comparison I could make that is evident in the sequel trilogy, not to always make it about that, but Luke is a father figure to Rey, and he wants to suppress her journey a little bit in terms of when she goes straight to the dark. He wants to suppress that feelings the feeling that she's having, and it's coming from a place of fear because he knows what's happened with Kylo. And in this situation, Au's father, when she does sing, you can tell that in the past, if he was holding a kyber crystal and she was singing, it burned his hand.
Yeah.
So he's scared of what could happen. And they're being so gentle about taking these kyber out of the mines that he's just scared of what could happen if she does answer the call, if she does start singing. And he kind of tells her not to do that.
And in that way, he's being a threshold guardian. He's preventing her from going on her journey. This is not unlike the relationship of Athena and Zeus, who bore Athena out of his own mind, was always very proud of Athena, but never understood her power and actually was often afraid of her. There's a deep otherness to femininity that fathers often don't understand, and don't understand that inner light, that unique power, which is, of course, representative of the goddess in these femme characters symbolically. Au is very, very, very powerful, and it scares the crap out of him.
Yes. The other thing that I liked about the father-daughter relationship, though, is that it's coming from a place of love.
Oh, yeah.
It isn't this, and I think that's why this one was a little more palatable for me, because it was so soft.
Yeah.
It was just like the felt that they were made out of. It was just the softest father-daughter relationship. Yeah. And he when he tells her, oh, okay, the last time, he shows her that his burned hand that happened last time, but he also touches her face with his hands and says, I do this because I care about you. I want you to be safe. It's the Finding Nemo father, where he doesn't want Nemo to go out on the journey. He doesn't want Al to do this because he wants her safe at home with him.
It's such a common motif with heroes, right? Because they're like, I have this thing I must do. I must go and adventure, or I must, from a heroine's journey perspective, I must find what this power is, or I must explore this, or I must feel this. And mentors, father figures, mothers, like from a place of love or a place of fear, stand in the way of the child growing up. So this also is a puberty story. Sorry.
No, don't apologize. But it is. Star Wars itself is a puberty story, right?
Yeah.
It's all about growing up. It's about it's a coming of age story. So
yeah.
And it always And so the third character that we meet on this planet is a female Jedi. Another goddess. So her name is Kratu, and we see that she is friends with Au's father, Abbot, and she comes and collects the kyber from him. And during one of those meetings, Abbot says for Au to stay outside. So at this point, he's already had the conversation with her, and she's pulled up her scarf to cover her mouth to keep her from singing, but she can't help but kind of sneak a peek through the window, and she sees the two of them kind of talking about the kyber. Kratu seems kind of perplexed by the bleeding, like that they haven't necessarily figured out the way to purify all of the kyber on the planet.
Yeah, especially some of the worst kyber, they can't seem to figure that out. Another thing you'll just notice if you pay attention to kind of off to the side of where Au is, there's always lines of ants crawling. It's really cool. Yeah. Because
she is one with nature, that she's connected to the land. Kind of going back to what the creators had said about a poison in her land, and only she is the one who can heal it. Au gets caught, of course, sneaking around. And so her and Kratu and her dad come outside. But Kratu, she realizes that Au is force sensitive. It's a really cute bit of animation as well, where she can sense that Au has a connection to the kyber.
Yeah.
So good. It's such a cute a little ping happens in the sound. The creators were also saying that all of those kind of noises of the creatures, the ants, the bugs, there's another bug, a lice that we see later, all of those noises, and even the kind of special effects noises of like the ping and all of that, they were done solely with their mouths. They chose that. They chose that on purpose. They wanted it all be coming from that idea of the voice, similarly to in the pit where Livy, her father tells her it's her voice that will save them. It's the same thing here with Ao, that her voice, her answering the call with her singing is what's going to save them. So the creators, I thought that was another cool point that the creators had brought up.
So Ao starts to kind of climb a mountain because her dad is heading off to go and find the big Kyber cave because they found like a big Kyber deposit basically. But so she follows him, but it doesn't want to get caught, and so she ends up falling into a deep Kyber cave. Tries to start to sing, but is interrupted. So like again, she's like in the cave symbolism of being in the womb and about to be reborn.
The descent happens, her going into the cave, all of that that we've talked about multiple times now.
It's sort of interrupted, right? Like it's interrupted, but then Kratu saves them and gives her a chance to actually do what she wanted to do to begin with. And she's kind of in this bridge, which is such cool symbolism too. Like it's a natural bridge between these two cliffs. And she starts to sing fully and like in ownership of her own power. And she is able to purify all the Kyber around her.
It's interesting you brought up the bridge because the man-made bridge collapses. Mm-hmm. That's what Kratu has to save them from. So they're on a man-made bridge. The cave that they're in collapses. When her dad interrupts her, the cave starts collapsing, which is very symbolic as well. And so they run out onto this man-made rope bridge. Bridge falls, and she kind of is trying to save her dad, and she falls as well into this, under the bridge. Kratu, she uses the force and saves them. So I thought that was kind of cool too. And then, like you had said, it's when she's on the natural bridge and then speaking out into the planet and singing, that's when she's able to kind of purify the Kyber. And the Kyber are huge. I loved this planet. It was so beautiful with like the natural greenery. There's these like pillars of covered in forest, and the Kyber are massive. They're gigantic. We see later at the end that once they get purified, they're just kind of sitting amongst the land. They're just part of the planet's design.
Yeah, exactly. The environment itself, like it made you want to be in there. It was very soft and such a nice story of her kind of like finding her own power. Kratu offers her to come with her and to nurture this power.
Yes.
Which is also, so her deciding to leave and go on the ship into the unknown is also considered to be a descent into the goddess. But now she's at a point where, she's embracing this power. She knows that she needs to go in there. To me, this kind of story just speaks to, we're often told to hide our gifts or our sparkle, or to not shine, or don't be a tall flower, because we don't fit the worldview of what we should be. And like, this is saying, no, your gifts, your sparkle, your power is valuable. And I love the scene at the end with her and her dad, like just before she's going to leave. And
it was so cute. I, again, because of the softness of the story, her father accepts this part of her. That's what it shows. And then he says, okay, are you ready? Are you ready to, it's just a very caring, loving father. So he says, oh, are you ready? And she's like, yeah, let's go. And so then she, they finish eating and she jumps onto the ship and starts her new journey. It was just very soft. That's all I can say. And obviously that was by design. The creators said that they wanted it to remind you of dolls.
Yeah.
Just childhood and holding dolls in your hands. Just those kind of soft plushy dolls. They have them at Galaxy's Edge in Orlando. They're kind of like the same way. They're very like, they're also very natural. Like it's the natural kind of, it's not like a Barbie doll, like hard.
Yeah.
They were kind of showing inspiration dolls and those kind of like, where it's just natural cloth and fiber made dolls. So that's exactly the design that was there. Something else I kind of wanted to bring up also related to nature was earlier when Ao was back at work with her father, she still can't let go of that part of herself that's connected to the land. There's a creature and he's got like this lice. It's the cutest lice you've ever seen, but there's like a lice on him. There's like it looks like a bantha, and then there's like a bug on him. And she grabs the bug and of course she lets it go. Like that, of course, that it just because they took a moment to show that. So I could think at least to me, it felt important that she would never kill a bug that was part of the land. She lets it go.
Ah, this show.
And it was a soft fuzzy bug. I wish they were all like cute like
all
that.
of them were cute like that. Yeah.
And one more final connection for the creators. Kratu the Jedi, she's Nadia, one of the directors, she said is based on her cousin who was an indigenous Sangoma or shaman. So just that connection. Yes, just that connection to the Jedi. And I don't know, just one more example of taking your own culture and bringing it to Star Wars that I just appreciate.
That's great. Wow, this has been a journey, Hammie.
Yes,
You've been
really
on
has.
a journey. And like to reiterate what we talked about kind of at the start in the Sith episode, all of these had a very femme-focused. Many of them included cusp of adulthood or, puberty or that coming of age story, puberty symbolism all over the place. I'm sorry. It's everywhere. But also understanding that the darkness is in us, that it's something to understand and to integrate so that we can make the choice to turn towards the light. And what is more Star Wars than all of that?
Yep. It was, we had talked about it at the beginning, but finding your own path and choosing that path seems so essential to each of these.
Yeah. Yeah. And like being, you're on this transformational journey all the time. Oh, so good.
They were each so unique from different cultures, the animation style, everything. It was just amazing. I mean, they have to do Visions Volume 3. It's necessary.
Yeah, it's necessary. I look forward to the stories that we get out of this because it gives this lens of Star Wars from all of these different countries. It gives this lens, but it also says the themes are still the same.
Yes, it kind of reinforces what we all love about Star Wars and what kind of brought us here to the fandom in the first place.
Yeah, exactly. And that to me, that is what we get out of different lenses. Like, hey, if we break the mirror, maybe we can change the vision that we see. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's great. Any final thoughts, Hammie, on Visions Volume 2?
Nothing yet, but I can't wait for Volume 3. I'm ready to go.
We're signing up for Volume 3 already, Lucasfilm. So please give it to us. This was amazing. I look forward to all the stories you have to tell. All right, Hammie, where can people find you if they're looking for you online?
I'm on Twitter @BalancePadawan. Thank you, MC, for having me. This was amazing. I love spending time with you, and I love talking about Star Wars. It's amazing.
Thank you, everyone, for listening to all these episodes. We know it was a lot, but we broke it into chunks because we thought, hey, each of these deserve love in and of themselves. So thank you for Visions Volume 2. We're signing up for Visions Volume 3. Thank you so much. Cheers.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to What the Force. I'm Marie-Claire Gould, your host. Our music is orchestral music by Christy Carew for What the Force. You can support the show directly on Patreon at patreon.com/whattheforce. We like to thank all our patrons, especially those who love and are obsessed with What the Force. Melody in Wild Space, How Rude, Anna Perez, Neil, Christian Luca, Carly Ann, Josh Johnson, Scott C., and Susan. Support the show by wearing the Force with our merch. Like and subscribe on YouTube or leave a 5-star review on iTunes or other podcast apps. It helps people find the show. You can connect with us on Twitter at WT Force Show, What the Force Podcast on Facebook. Our website is whattheforce.ca, or you can join the Discord. Links are all in the liner notes. Feel free to reach out and start a conversation. Cheers.